Sometimes the most dangerous thing in Jeet Kune isn't ignorance. It is subjective certainty disguised as open-mindedness. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, and welcome to a special Monday emergency issue of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. This is issue number 385, the one about when no way becomes just another way. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. Okay, so today, here's what I want to deal with. It's a pattern of thinking that sounds balanced. It sounds enlightened. It even sounds very Bruce Lee-y. But when you really examine it, it is full of internal contradictions. So I'm going to break it down for you. So there's a belief that some people have that says that if you didn't train directly with Bruce Lee, or if you didn't train with his very first generation students, then your understanding of Jeet Kune Do will always be limited. So let me be clear. I respect lineage. I respect experience. I respect the time that you've put in. But here's the problem. Bruce Lee's own students didn't agree with each other. Bruce Lee's own students trained at different times, under different conditions, and also but during different phases of his evolution. So whose version then becomes the measuring stick, the sole measuring stick? And if proximity equals authority, what happens when the authorities don't agree? In fact, if you think about it, right, how can mere proximity ever equate to authority? So that's the first thing. At the same time, you'll hear people say that Jeet Kune Do has been in a constant state of evolution since the 1960s. And to a certain degree, on the surface, I agree with that. But there's a contradiction. Because if it's constantly evolving, how can earlier versions automatically be considered more valid, more important? If evolution means development, then it means change and it means progression. So you cannot argue for evolution on one hand, but hierarchy on the other. You have to pick one. So, third saying or idea that's floating around out there is that it's that one objective truth about Jeet Kune Do that stands above personal interpretation. So that sounds strong, right? It sounds disciplined and it even sounds philosophical, but it clashes, right? It clashes with the very direction that Bruce Lee was pointing us in. Because Bruce Lee's entire emphasis was based on personal understanding, right? It was based on individual expression. It was based on functional truth and not a fixed ideological truth. So if you make Jeet Kune Do about an external, albeit unchanging truth, then you have already moved away from its core. Then there's this other idea, and this one drives me crazy. This one drives me crazy a little bit more than the others. We must preserve Bruce Lee's legacy while also pushing ourselves to evolve. So I agree with the intention of that. But we cannot pretend that these two things will not in some way create some sort of tension. Because what exactly are we supposed to preserve? um, you hear talk about the curriculum, the 1966 curriculum, the 1967 curriculum. Over the past couple of days, the Junfan sets, dummy sets, the Jeet Kune dummy sets, the freelance set, the whatever, right? So, what is it that we're preserving? These ideas about curricula, a structure, a philosophy, a moment in time. And now, when we talk about evolving, in what direction and according to whose standard? Because if you just talk about preserving Bruce Lee's legacy and pushing yourself to evolve, and you don't define any of that stuff, then what you're doing is you're kind of like using nice sounding words that cover a little bit of a conflict. And lastly, you'll hear that Jeet Kune Do is what you make it. It's your personal journey. But you're also being told that if you didn't study with first generation people, that you don't know what's up. Now, again, I mostly agree that it is your personal journey. But here's where it flips. If JKD is personal experience, if it is shaped by the individual's experience, then how can any single person also claim that other approaches are delusional or less valid, or that they are missing the truth? You cannot simultaneously preach personal responsibility while being an intellectual gatekeeper. These two things cancel each other out. So the problem isn't this. The problem is not that people disagree about Jeet Kune Do. That's natural, and to a certain degree, if it's if it's intelligent disagreement, right, it's also healthy. The problem is when people talk about no way and they preach openness and they sound inclusive, but they're secretly clinging to their own version of the way. And that's where Jeet Kune Do stops being creative, and it starts to be like just like another fixed ideology, right? So Bruce Lee didn't give us a final system. Who knows if he would have? But he didn't. He left us a direction, and so the moment that anybody turns that direction into something fixed and like their own fixed idea versus everybody else's, the moment that you turn that into some kind of moralized idea or some superior idea, you've completely missed the point of no way. So let me know what you think, because that's all I'm going to say about this emergency video. If you like what you heard, comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At the jkdrebel.gumroad.com, you'll find the Quick Skill Series, Junfan Volume 1. And by the end of this week, we'll have the Numerata and Sombrata workshop video up there also. So this is the jkdrebel.gumroad.com. That's where you'll find that. Go to titansofjkd.com, titansofjkd.com, all of the relevant information, the hotel, where to book rooms for the hotel, um, the new prices. And I got to tell you, so a lot of people didn't pay attention and missed the first cutoff date for price increase. There's going to be another cutoff date. I think it is December. It's Friday, December 19th. So the prices will go up if you don't reserve your spot by then. So go to titansofjkd.com for full information. At rebelgear.printify.me, rebelgear.printify.me, you can find we've got a couple of different coffee mugs and stickers and t-shirts available there. Rebelgear.printify.me. And last but not least, the old favorite, the Jeet Kune Journey Volume 1, raw but edited version. And that is at paypal.me slash unified MA Miami, paypal.me slash unified MA Miami. Okay, all right. So I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say about these ideas. I will be posting every day this week until Thursday. Okay. And everything you might have noticed has been moved forward. So on Wednesday instead of Friday, so mark the date on your calendar. On Wednesday instead of Friday, we have I I guess that will be the last episode. Yes, it'll be the final episode for this month of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. So it will be the all popular Ask Me Anything. But I can tell you in advance, I will be talking about. There's two not viral but fairly popular. They're getting a lot of eyes. Videos going around right now talking about reviving Jeet Kune Do and also talking about the decline of Jeet Kune Do. And so that's definitely going to be something that I will want to talk with you about and share my ideas on that. So that is Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so go ahead and make your comments. I'll take a quick look at them before I got to rush out and do some holiday shopping. All right, so until next time, until Wednesday, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys take care. We'll talk soon.